We wait to go live. We are now live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this LC200 test. In fact, this stream is coming from the LCS200 sitting down to my right here. And we're going to go through my take on this in real time without any fettered preloading. The only thing I've been able to do is actually go into PowerPoint, grab some images, throw them together so that we can have a look through together at what we have here. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the interface that we are in fact using here. And the interface that we are using is this one right here. This is the interface that I can see up on my right hand side. So if I'm looking up here on the corner, we can see this in real time. And this is what I will be using. I can see the audio is still going, so we are good to go. So from here, I'm going to exit out of this so we can actually see this all together. So if I go home, this is what you're presented with from the multi-view output on the LC200. Configuration, director, files manager. This is straight out of the box. I've changed two settings. I've changed the, what have I changed? I've changed it to 60p instead of 30p. And I've set up a stream key to go out and be recorded via my own restreamer to make sure that I hide all my keys so that they don't come up. However, let's jump into the director mode here and let's poke about and see what it is. Actually, you know what? Let's actually do a presentation first. I'm going to pull up one of the preset scenes that come straight out of the box. I'm going to go through my slideshow. So as you can see over here on my right-hand side is the slideshow that I quickly threw together very, very quickly. And it's not my right-hand side, it's my left-hand side. What am I kidding? It's your right on the screen. So the Lumens LC200 is this tiny, tiny little lecture capture box thing. It does lots of things. And let's actually show what it does. So as you can see here, if I click through my slides, multiple inputs can go into it. What kind of input you ask? Well, that's the question that I always tend to ask. It has 4 HDMI inputs. It takes Lumens IP cameras, shock horror. It takes Lumens NDI-HX cameras, shock horror, and regular RTSP streams. Audio inputs. There is audio on every single one of those inputs you see above in the video inputs. And it also has 4 external line mic inputs. In fact, why don't we just have a look at what the back looks like. Here is the back here. And you can actually see exactly what that looks like. Now, there's all kinds of things in here. This is just basically what it is. There's HDMI inputs, there's HDMI outputs, mini jack inputs, mini jack outputs. It's very, very simple kind of device. It's very thin. It's only about 4 inches or 70 mil deep. Standard rack mount as per usual. It records and streams. So it can record into the 1 terabyte hard drive. Can record to an external USB drive or an FTP server, so it can actually do all of that stuff. Pretty straightforward so far. Streaming, it can pull from, so push out to RTSP, but it's pull terminology, or it can push to RTMP, RTMPS, MPEG, TS, TCP, UDP, the usual kind of suspects when it comes to streaming. Actually, you can do 3 streams at once, which is fantastic, and we'll go into that in more detail. Here's an example of basically how that would be connected in one of their examples. Anyway, that's just what it does straight out the box. If we go back into the control itself, again, I'll be looking up here, which is where I've got my monitor for the system itself. I'm going to go into the layouts button and I'm going to select input 3. So you can see input 3 and we're going to get all this crazy stuff. So this stuff over here on the right hand side is what's going out. This is my preview on the left-hand side of what all the sources are. You can see I can put overlays on. It's quite nice. Again, these are just PNG images. No transitions for them, which is kind of sucky. If I did have things pipped, if we pick that layout before what we had, you can see we can put a different background behind it, for example. And then you build your scenes. Now, I'm not sure because I have not read the manual because I'm literally doing this off the cuff, which is what I like to do when it comes to testing equipment and figuring out what it can do. The only testing that I did was to make sure they had the right signals going to the right places. So let's talk through my signals. Up here in HDMI 1 is actually the video and audio source, which is coming out of my computer via OBS. Input 2 is another screen out of my computer, which is showing a PowerPoint presentation. Output 3 is actually a loop out through a splitter of what I'm looking at up here, so you can see what's going on. I probably should put this all on the screen, shouldn't I? That's silly of me. Again, it's rough, it's raw, it's what we do. So input 1 is mixed audio and video feed via OBS. Output 2 is my PowerPoint presentation, again coming out of the same computer, but whatever. HDMI 3 is a split of the multi-view output. Input 4 is literally just the output straight out of the camera, so you can actually see the keying and that's going on there. The ability to have these preset scenes is very handy. That's how you switch to all the different things you want it to do. Layout, this is how you pick your particular straight up ahead layouts. This seems pretty limited from what I can see. It doesn't have the full flexibility that I'd expect, but that's okay. That's just an opinion. So obviously we can go input 1, input 2, input 3, input 4. Input 1 again, just on its own. I don't know why it's there a second time. Input 1 with a pip of input 2, input 1 with a pip of input 3, 2, 2. I'm sure if I read the manual, it'll tell me how I can vary this. That's quite nice because you can build a background in there as well. These are different. Oh, sorry, this is just the layout section. Actually, that's probably not bad at all either. And again, all these different layouts that you have here and a little bit of the overlay functionality of that. So let's actually go into input 3 so you can see what I see. Do you see what I see? I'm sure you do. The overlays, again, these are PNG images you can throw over the top of any one of these backgrounds of what go behind is where we got up to. Camera control, this is pretty cool. You can actually go in here if you have cameras connected, the Lumens cameras, and select them, call presets, move it around, zoom in, zoom out, and so on directly from the unit, which is quite handy, just via a keyboard mouse. So keyboard mouse is just plugged straight into this unit. So scenes we've talked about. Audio we have not talked about yet. So here we can select from the HDMI inputs from the sources up here that are selected, or we can select a line or mic input. One criticism of this page is the update is slow and it doesn't really give true metering of what's actually coming into the device. So that could be problematic and could possibly go into overdrive. Just something I've noticed on this one, but we can indeed mute the ones we're not doing. If I unmute these ones, we will get that feedback. Recording, shock horror, I am recording on the device. Shock horror, I am streaming on the device. And we can also take snapshots, which is, snapshots, which is a handy feature to do as well. This is the director page. So let's jump back and have a look at what else is going on. We can see we're recording, we're streaming on one, network's good, hard drive's good, so on and so forth. Okay, all is good. This stream is being encoded on that device right as we speak. This whole live stream is happening from this device. So I'm not actually going into another encoder. I'm just feeding it sources and we're spitting it out to the internet directly to YouTube through an RTMP restreamer. It would normally go direct to YouTube, Facebook, Wowzer, what you name it, it does it. But let's have a look elsewhere. So the About page obviously has where we're at firmware-wise. We're running firmware version 4.3.0.48, which is the latest one on their website. You can see the unit that I have here, and you can look at that up if you want to. As we move forward, we can see the file manager. So I actually pushed record just before. Hello. File manager. Or not. Maybe I can't go in there because I am recording. Configuration. So here's where we get our configuration. Here's what our recording is. We can put a prefix in there. Here is the streaming information, which as you can see is going to a local RTMP site and then being pushed to YouTube. So it is actually still going out live, which is always good and fun. We can obviously set multiple streams in here, and this is where we can start to have a look at some of those options we have. So RTMP, RTMPS, RTP, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast are built in straight out the gate. I've just realized my PowerPoint presentation wasn't finished. Oh, well, RTSP, so put it on the local network so you can pull it down again later. You can see system and network settings from there. pretty straightforward. The more interesting side is, and I didn't put this in because my it appears that my PowerPoint crashed. This also does connect to other platforms as well, which is a wonderful thing. It will actually integrate with Google Calendar. It will integrate with Outlook. I believe it integrates with Office 365, but I've got to double check. It should. So in other words, you can start scheduling your calendaring through that way, which is just a really, really lovely thing. What else is there that's of interest? Oh yeah, it also integrates with some content management systems. So particularly in the learning management sphere, it integrates with, let me find out who it integrates with, because I thought that was really cool. So Panopto, OpenCast, and Kaltura, it will integrate with directly. But it is just an RTMP stream that it pushes out. So let's end the slideshow like so. And hopefully, if everything goes according to plans, and I push the correct button, which would be this one, you should now be able to see the Lumens login page. So this is actually the web interface. This is a bit more interesting. Can I actually just toggle through? I can. Well, that's good. Okay, so this is using the hard buttons on the front there. Default login. You know what would be cool is if I had this and I could flip that around. Okay, so you can actually create some different things here. Not what I want to do. Oh well. Oh, that one says it's not available. So there's a button on the front here that says it will do something, but it's not going to do it. Anyway, let's just use the full screen me. Let's get this back. Shame I can't select that. Oh, I probably could select it by changing the inputs. Sorry, let me go to here so you can see this. So up here, you can actually select the different inputs that you want them to be. So you could select the source, but as soon as you make a change, it makes that change in the layout. So, you know, once again, this is what this is designed for. Is not to be an OBS. It's designed to be just a plug-in appliance that just works and has hard buttons, and you start streaming, you stop streaming, you start recording, you stop recording, you automate that. That's what it's designed for. Very simple kind of thing. So let's jump into, there we go. So let's have a look at the web interface and see what we can do. You know what? I want this the other way around. I do. Let's see if we can do this. Yep. Have I lost audio? No, I have not lost audio. Fantastic. This is better. Look at this. I'm pipped in. Okay, so it just depends on where you place your sources as to what you get. All of this is controllable via the API and via RS-232 as well. So for those systems integrations where you just want it to be installed and controlled from Crestron, AMX, Extron, or whatever control system, you can control it from QSys. You can do it right through here. So anyway, into the interface. Oh, I did change the time zone as well. This is a really nice feature that I really like, is the fact that you can search for your time zone. It just is really nice. You can either manually set it or use NTP. I've put in an NTP server. This is the setting that I changed to be 60 frames per second. I have no idea where this welcome screen gets displayed, but you can change it. I just don't know where it goes. At the moment, so network stuff, shock horror, again, firmware update, service data. I'm guessing that's a log file for network debugging and so on and so forth. Reset the thing to its defaults. Let's have a look in the configuration. So you can export, this is cool, you can export the configuration and take it from machine to machine. So if you've got a whole heap of scenes and you're applying it across a campus, for example, you could take all that details and spit it in there and then import that and selectively, export what you need to do, selectively import that into a new machine. Only one resolution and frame rate, which is okay for the most part. Most screens are 60 hertz on the viewing side of things, although in Australia we are a 50 hertz country. So that could be problematic if you have flickering lights like tungsten lights or particular LEDs which are clocked to the 50 hertz side of things. Administrator password, online director password, and video manager password. So this here, online director, I believe this is a feature that's coming. So the director you've seen before with that web interface from the mouse and keyboard I believe is coming to online. Otherwise, why would they put online director in here? Account management, source, network device manager. Again, this is where you can find network cameras or network streams and add them in here. This is the RTSP streams we talked about earlier. This is an interesting quirk because I have played with this for about 5 minutes just to see what was in here. It would now go and search online on my network, and it's found a whole heap of my security cameras. So I'm guessing that it's an ONVIF style detection. I could be wrong, but it does detect, but it will not work with my setup with those cameras. This is the video recording, so obviously we're recording at this MP4 mix video or off. Okay, so you can actually use it to find this. I don't know if I want to do this while it's recording, but then you can set all the resolution, bit rates, frames per second, group of pictures. So that means it's creating a new iframe. Hang on, iframe, P-frame, creating a new P-frame. So a full image frame every 30 frames. So that means that twice a second, it is creating a master thing. It's using high profile audio bit rates 256. And the sample rate is 48 kilohertz. This is the streaming side of things, so we can input, as we showed before, in the actual box, all the different places where you can just drop it straight in and start using it straight out of the box. It's a really nice feature. And Smashcast for obvious reasons. RTSP, again, putting it on your local network so you can pull it off somewhere else. Scenes, yeah, I don't need to change this. This is where we upload some overlays, some backgrounds. So for example, we could literally grab that background that I just had before, which hopefully is here. Here we go. We can put the Lumens background in there. And if we had everything set up, we could select that as part of the thing. Oh, wrong resolution. Ah, there you go. It's got to be, it must be PNG, it must be 1080. There you go. We've learned something new today. Now here, we're apparently able to create our own scenes and our own layouts. So I'm going to make a very simple one. I'm going to call this scene Quad. I'll put a background in because we can. No overlays. Now I noticed on the front of the unit there is a customized layout button, which I think cycles through some of the layouts you have featured in here. And I was hoping that it would... Yeah, it doesn't let me select that layout, which is a bit of a shame actually. I'm just going to use the unit for a second to see if I can see that scene on here. I can't see that scene on the device itself, and I can't see that layout. So there's some confusion with the system itself. I don't know about that overlay, but you know, we have what we have. There's some confusion between the web interface and the physical interface. I'm not sure what's going on, but the physical interface does not appear to match this down here. So if I can't scroll it, I can just turn it off, I guess. So this scene here, scene 5, I can't actually activate that scene, which kind of sucks, to be honest. But anyway, it is what it is. Talking about the internal storage, so you can see it's a Western Digital. It appears to be a terabyte. Fantastic. Scheduler, so this is where we can get it to pull the calendar from, for example, Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, I believe Office 365. What I do like is it can also be connected to the OpenCast server and just control it from there. So that's a fantastic thing. Yep, we're going to leave that. I like this. This is really cool. So after every single recording, you can pump this straight up to where it needs to go. So FTP, SFTP, all those content management systems that we talked about before, more learning management systems, and smack it straight up in there after recording. So as soon as the unit is finished, it's uploading and ready to be accessed from your server. A nice addition to here would be SMB, just as a nice thing to have. Apart from that, that's what it is. This is what the unit is. It is what it says on the box. It does exactly what it says, and it works. It's not a terrible unit. The price is pretty good for what it is. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is competing against more expensive systems as well, which is quite interesting. They've been around for a long time and are more expensive. And it kind of hits a nice little sweet spot, I feel. Has it got some firmware improvements? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's got some firmware improvements. We're on version 4 now. They seem to be pretty aggressive with the way that they bring out firmware for their devices. So a lot of these things, time of recording is 10:49 p.m. on the 29th of the 6th of 2020. So your mileage may vary after this, and they may have fixed a lot of the things that I'm talking about here. That's it. That's what the box is. That's what the box does. This is the Lumens LC200. This has been a real-time live stream of my first thoughts on the device. Again, I think it's pretty cool. I can see what it does. It has a place in the market. It has some things that needs to improve on, but overall the unit just works. And I think that's what we're all looking for, is a unit that can be switched on and not have to be switched off, and just continues to go on and on and on, much like me. Well, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next live stream. In fact, I'm going to end the stream by pushing the buttons on the front. Thanks so much. See ya. Bye.